WagerTalk TV. It is Wednesday. We're talking about games for Thursday, early morning KBO betting action. My name is Andrew McInnis, once again joined by Dave Cokin. Dave, how are things?
Everything's okay. Looking forward to a great pitching duel, perhaps, on the Thursday KBO schedule. And we've got 5 games to talk about, and obviously that will be one of them.
Definitely a few good pitchers on the mound, but in that game you're talking about, great pitching matchup. So without further ado, hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll get things going here. Samsung Lions, Doosan Bears, first one on the schedule here in rotation order. Looking at this one here, Dave, I mean, we see once again the Samsung Lions take care of business, get things done, get the job done against Flexen on the mound as well. Doosan Bears continue to be a different team at home. How much should we really buy into the fact that they're playing at home, or are they just playing poor ball right now? I mean, at the end of the day, they're playing poor ball. At the end of the day, they're not playing great ball.
It doesn't have anything to do with home or road. It's got everything to do with 3/4 of their starting infield being out.
Yeah.
I don't care what league you're in. You lose 3/4 of your starting infield, it's going to be a problem. And we'll see what happens here. Now, this is a matchup where we could see some runs scored. Ho's on the mound for Samsung. He's had just a couple of appearances. I believe he's going to stick with the big club this time. But, 10 innings, 12 hits, only 3 runs. But then you look at some of the peripherals, and that's where your eyebrows get raised. 5 walks and only 1 strikeout in those 10 innings. So he's been really fortunate in terms of stranding guys and getting away with not getting scored upon in situations where there could have been big innings. So even with Doosan shorthanded, I think you're probably going to see them put together some offense tonight. Yu is on the mound for the Bears. He's been okay lately. 3 of his last 4 starts have been pretty good, but he's still a pitcher who just has that profile that I don't like. And I keep talking about this. You got to miss bats once in a while, and in 37 innings, he's got 13 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's his biggest problem.
And 46 hits in that stretch. So, you look at the fielding independent percentage, and it's up there. It's over 5. I think you're going to get runs in this game, even with Doosan being short-handed and the Lions not exactly being a juggernaut on offense. I think the pitching here could be pretty weak.
I'd have to agree as well with you. I think both pitchers aren't the best out there. And like you said, with you, what bothers me with him is his strikeout ability. And also he's, there's racking the hits up. Despite the earned runs, I'm still going to look at those inside stats and say that he's not a guy I'm looking to back or take an under with. So with this, this number here, I'm comfortable going with the over, especially after cashing back-to-back tickets personally with the under in this series. Look to close things out with an over ticket with these 2 guys. I mean, like I said, we had 2 pretty solid pitchers on the mound yesterday, and I just got that victory on the under by a half run. But in looking at this one here, 2 guys that probably shouldn't really be throwing balls down the middle and being too successful. So, and again, like you said, I don't want to lay too much about it on home or away, but we can talk about the 3 guys. But on a larger scale, if we're just talking about a larger scale here, this Doosan team definitely hasn't been performed at home whatsoever.
The ballpark is geared. It's not a good hitter's park. So it figures kind of logical that you're going to get less runs scored at home.
Yeah, less runs, but I think that not that many less. You know what I mean? Like we can say they're getting less runs, but
I don't know. To me, you're still talking about they played less than 40 games. So to me, it's still an awfully small sample to make a definitive judgment on a team being an under team on the road or an over team at home or whatever. It's just like, the rage in this league was no close games. If you're going to bet a side, you're better off taking the runs line. Well, that was a small sample myth, because now we're seeing loads of close games in this league with the exception of the hapless Eagles. I mean, basically, you're seeing almost all the games now going to the wire. And I was keeping track of the games decided by 2 or more runs, and I'm still doing it, but the percentage is nowhere near where it was 2 weeks ago at this time. So definitely. I don't get too wrapped up in small samples.
Like, while it was going on, though, it was working. So it's kind of
everything works.
while it's happening.
Everything
Exactly.
works. What's going on? That's
100%.
why.
All I'm telling you is I'm reading the stats. I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying right now it's just a fact that they're playing better on the road versus home. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's not going to be something that we can get too excited about. It's not a big scale. They have had injuries. I'm definitely taking all those into account. I'm just saying for the viewers that it has been a fact that they've been worse at home versus on the road. That's all.
I'm not knocking the idea of backing a short-term trend. Just don't get locked into it. One of my oldest friends in the handicapping, he doesn't sell picks, but he's been a handicapper forever, and he's a short-term trend guy, and he'll just jump in. He'll play zillions of them in all sports, and he's done well over the years. And he's just in them for short term. So in this case with the Bears, the short term indicates they've been a good under team at home, and that you can factor into your analysis in terms of. But I wouldn't get. In other words, if it starts to turn, you want to get away from it quickly.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So it sounds like Dave and I are both on the same page. We do both like the over in this game and this look here. Shout out to Jake. We have Brandon in the group chat as well. Joshua, James. Mr. Roman, everybody tuning in, Mike, Daniel, the usual guys. We appreciate you guys joining in, checking it out, the KBO betting show for Thursday morning's action. On to the next game here, Dave. NC Dinos, Kia Tigers. And, a 7-6, tough one, right? Gets the loss there. Tigers looking pretty sharp and, winning some games, but winning close games as well. I'm impressed with that. I had the Dinos first 5 innings, half a run there. And it was actually going to be it was going to win, except for a 4-run inning from the Tigers that set me back. But, I'll be happy to continue to back Wright. I still think he's a good pitcher. But we're starting to see that even in these higher scoring games, the second the pitching starts to fall, things are going well for the opposition. But, different guys out there. We've got Koo versus Gagnon here tonight, and these are 2 solid pitchers. I mean, the guys, I believe this is one you were talking about. This has to be the one that you were referencing. And I mean, first instinct for me is under, right? That's the first instinct for me. But the way I looked at it, honestly, and looking at Koo's last game, he only gave up 1 earned run, and it was, it was not really his best game. I mean, or at least for the team that played around him, right? So everybody has known me for saying that I'm going to be backing these import guys. I've said that to you a lot, Dave. But in this opportunity here, I got this pretty early. I got on the NC Dinos here. I think that this is a good bet on spot for me. I think past 2 games has been tough losses for the NC Dinos. They're sending out their best guy, and Gagnon's been all right for them. He's obviously 3-3 with them, holding a decent ERA and. He's striking out batters, but I still like Koo way better. And for me with this one, it just depends on what all of everybody out there, what the price you're getting on it, what you're willing to lay. And to Dave's point, you have to be done with these -1.5s for most opportunities. I mean, unless you're fading Hanwha, of course. But for a lot of the games, we're going to see 1-run games now. So. Dave, for me personally, I'm not going to touch the total here. I could easily see some runs, but I also could see a complete shutdown game, with these 2 pitchers for obvious reasons. But the bats have been going for both squads. I like the Dinos here to kind of bounce back, rebound here, and get back rolling. And thinking about what you said to me earlier in the week, you said, well, Andrew, this team's not going to hit 800 or win, win so many games in a row, which is true. But I think this is an opportunity to bet on them, and I think long term we'll still make a lot of money betting on the NC Dinos.
Well, one rule I've already put in place is that I'm not going to bet against Koo. He's been the best pitcher in the league, and by a pretty good margin. I mean, the numbers are just spectacular. 7 out of 7 quality starts, 11 walks, 52 strikeouts. He's only given up 1 hit every 2 innings. He's only given up 4 earned runs on the season. He's a big league pitcher in the KBO right now, and I mean the Heroes have a good offense, but it's tough to see them doing much damage against this guy the way he's throwing. On the flip side, there's nothing wrong with the way Gagnon's throwing.
No,
for Kia, he's got 4 of his last 5 quality starts. Excellent walk to strikeout ratio, 9-45. That's a winning ratio all the way. His FIP is good. and the Dinos aren't hitting quite like they've been hitting. So I think you can make a case for this to be a game that lives up to the hype as far as the pitching duel prospects are concerned. And I think you could be looking at a game that's very easily 2-1 going into the late innings. And at that point, you got to start to worry because the bullpens get involved and anything can happen. But if you're ahead by enough runs, you can still be fairly comfortable. As far as the side goes, the only way I would play is Dinos. And I would agree with first 5 being maybe the best option here because you get the best pitcher in the league for the first 5 innings. They don't go 9 in this inning. So you're looking at maybe 7 innings for both these guys. I can't argue against the Dinos here. That line has gotten up there. It's now in the 165 range, but, that's going to happen when you're backing the best pitcher in the league.
Yeah, it's very crucial for us to be getting out our picks and looking at these games, within an hour and a half of when these odds are being released, because the money's coming in on the hot pitchers, and for good reason for the most part. Some of these hot pitchers like Koo are getting bet up pretty high. Anthony Roman says Dinos Tigers first 5 under. Yeah, it's at 4.5 around -120. You can't argue it, Anthony. I can't argue with you. You're isolating those two.
Which game is he talking about? Dinos aren't playing the Tigers.
Yes, they are.
I thought they were playing the Heroes. Am I mixing up the nicknames?
Kia Tigers play for Gagnon plays for the Tigers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No big deal. So he's looking at that at -120. Look, for the most part, I've been liking to get 5.5s as these first 5s, but there's an obvious reason why you're not going to get a 5.5 here or 5. You're going to get a 4.5 here. Dave touched on it. I touched on it as well. I haven't had great success. I'll be honest. I haven't had great success with my first 5 unders. I've had about 3 or 4 pushes when betting those, but I think with these two solid guys, I don't see Koo slowing down quite a bit. Gagnon knows this is a big matchup. Can't go wrong with it. But for all of you guys in the chat, I like NC tonight quite a bit here. And I still think it's a pretty good price. Someone's saying right now you can get around -155 with the Dinos. Somebody else said here, Dave, that if the price on the money line is higher than -160, forget it. I think that's a lot of preference. It depends on how you manage your bankroll. Depends on how you bet personally. The way I see it, I'm on here to give out picks and chat and discuss the games and stuff like that. I can discuss how I think that you should bet with certain numbers, but I can't tell you how to manage your bankroll and what prices that you should like. So if you don't like to go higher than -60, that's power to you.
That's fair enough, but that's just it's not really a good idea, because if you look at Major League Baseball over the past several years, betting on favorites, just blanket betting favorites of -200 to -300 has actually been really profitable. Really profitable. So the old standard of don't lay too much. What is too much? If a team, look, let me put it simply, if the line's $1.80 on a game and you make the line -220, then you should be betting it. You got 40 cents of value. So if you're restricting yourself, well, I'm not going to play anything that's that high, then you're making a gambling mistake. It's all about getting value. It doesn't matter what the price is.
I agree. If you think something should be somewhere else and you're going to get, you're saving, then you should go ahead and pull trigger on it. That's how I feel with point spreads and just money line odds. We'll move forwards here, Dave. Lotte Giants, Kiwoom Heroes. This one here, we saw the Kiwoom Heroes win 4-3 and get a little bit of a bounce back victory, but it didn't come easy for them. Lotte actually had a pretty good game. They started things off. They actually were a pretty good underdog price. And now we're seeing Straley on the mound. He's 1-2 with a pretty solid ERA. He's looked pretty good for the Lotte Giants. And we got Lee on the mound for the Heroes. He hasn't looked very good. So now we're seeing it pretty much around pick 'em odds for these two teams. Oh, actually, beg your pardon. Lotte are actually pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Lotte
no pick-ems there.
Lotte are actually pretty heavy favorites. Well,
I wouldn't call them heavy, but buck and a quarter. I'm not seeing anything like that.
They're too big for my liking. I'll say that. You can go ahead.
I'm seeing all 125 and 130 on the game, which is about where it opens, so not really much movement on that game. Now Straley's pitching really good ball. He's had 4 straight quality starts. And the big deal with Straley early was that he was having command issues, and he's not having them anymore. So he's settled in. Might have been adjusting to new country and things like that. And I think he had, I don't remember whether it was, might have been a little bit unhealthy to start the season. But in any case, he's settled in now and is pitching good ball. And the strikeouts are starting to come too. Lee did pitch very well in his last start. That was his best start of the year. So maybe he can build on that. But I think the right team's favored in this game. And I think the price is about right as well. The Giants look like they should be somewhere in that 125, 135 range.
I agree. I'm pretty much going to pass this game, so I don't really have too much on it, honestly. I think that this is one where I'm still curious to see how Australia play. And with Lee, like you said, coming off a pretty good outing, and not just a good outing against a regular team, against the NC Dinos team, which is important for me to mention. But I think there's no problem with passing, and I don't really have too much of an opinion on this one, so we'll move forwards. KT Wiz, SK Wyverns. This has been a pretty good series, Dave.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a pretty competitive series. I don't know if you caught the end of the game or if you watched that game this morning at all, but I had the over last night between these two teams and ended up 6-4. It was top of the 10th, bases juiced, no outs. Yeah, and I'm sitting there saying, "Here comes the over," and they ended up just getting a few in just to win the game, and the closer came in and actually shut down the Wyverns and couldn't get me over the total. But we got Despaigne on the mound for the Wiz, taking on Park, and this is going to be just back to my theory. I got a pretty good number with KT. I think Despaigne will get back to work here and get the job done. He's had 3 straight losses. He hasn't looked great recently as far as win-loss, but I'm going to back him here. And, the bats came to life from the KT Wiz late in the game yesterday, but not just that. I've developed a habit of just talking about how horrible the bullpen has been for KT. But to your point a few moments ago, Dave, we can see a trend, or we can see a streak, or we can see something happen in this league. But I think it's personally my job to recognize things when they should change. And I'm going to hopefully see this KT, relieving staff get a little bit better. And I was impressed with what I saw yesterday or this morning.
They did well yesterday.
And I'm going to go ahead here and back them. I got a pretty good money line price with them. It depends how much everyone is, willing to lay. But I think this is worthy of it. Look at the standings wise, SK is still pretty low, but they've been playing decent ball. And if we take a look at what his opponent on the mound, Park, has been doing. He's coming off a loss against Kia, and he threw a good amount of strikeouts, but he still got hit. When he wasn't throwing some heat, he still got hit. So I'm going to go against him. I'm going to still, when I can find those spots, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I'm going to auto bet, import pitchers versus Korean-born guys. But I think this is a good opportunity for it, especially with Despaigne not pitching too well recently. I think he'll get the job done here today at a pretty good number.
Well, Despaigne has been lobbying to pitch on 4 days rest. And he was scheduled to go on 4 last start, but they had a rain out. So he ended up being on 5. And now he's on 4, which is what he says he wants. Now, what he says he wants doesn't mean he's automatically going to translate it to suddenly dominating. And he hasn't been very good, to be honest. But the numbers just aren't great for him. More than 1 hit per inning. Pretty good with the walk to strikeout. No question about that. Not in good form recently. Park is actually pitching pretty well, I think, for the Wyverns. He's had problems getting run support, to be sure. But he's actually been their best guy, I think, in terms of being consistent. Walks to strikeout is pretty solid. FIP is pretty good. The problem is he doesn't get much offense. Mm-hmm. He doesn't get much help with the offense. And now one other worry is that the Wyverns are supposed to have the better bullpen here. But in this series, it hasn't worked out that way. The Wyverns bullpen blew the lead in the 9th inning and then gave up the 2 runs in the 10th inning this morning.
Dave, it was batting practice out there.
I know.
Last couple innings of the game.
Yeah. There were a lot of – this game looked like a nuts under and almost got the over.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what. And the thing is that Wyverns, they have a lot of problems anyway, which explains why they're 12-25 or whatever they are. Most of those problems have been offense, and they've had some decent pitching, and the bullpen has been okay. In terms of KBO bullpens. If the bullpen's suddenly going to turn into a pothole, they're going to lose a lot of baseball games. So they're a tough team to back here. I think the team form would favor the Wiz, who've won a couple in a row, and despite the fact they've underachieved based on a lot of projections this season, they're at least starting to show some signs of life, and the offense is good. I want to see what Despaigne does, get an idea of whether he actually is going to be more effective on 4 days rest or not. So this will be a sit back and watch for me.
Yeah, I look at those last two games Despaigne pitched. I'm not going to sit here and say I know the guy personally, and I've watched him for years on years on years, but I know that's not him, and that's kind of what I'm looking at with this one. A lot of people might see me as a trend better sometimes, but I also look at a guy and say, he hasn't been performing up to his expectations, and that's my handicap here with Despaigne to get the job done here. We've got the LG Twins, Hanwha Eagles. And it's funny. So Dave, I've told you. So how the games are pretty early in where I'm from, right? It's
right.
6:30 and 6:30 in the morning. So I've got a buddy who just recently started a job pretty early in the morning. He starts about 6 a.m. something like that, 6:30. So I'll get a text from him right after all the games end, and because he knows I've been doing this show and stuff like that, and he bets recreationally, and he just says to me, he's like, I feel like I'm a part of the staff for the Hanwha Eagles because they just keep paying me. He said that he is blindly finding a way to. At one point he was literally just betting the NC Dinos and then fading the Hanwha Eagles. And now he said he wakes up for work every day and just lines up against the Hanwha Eagles. Today he had -2.5, and he cashed that in. So I just thought that'd be pretty funny to mention. He's not someone that's researching the card. He's not someone that's breaking it down, looking at the pictures. He is waking up every single day for work and blindly fading the Hanwha Eagles, and he's having some success with it.
I guess he is.
I wanted to give him a little shout out there because I thought that was pretty funny seeing him back, -2.5 with the Twins here. We're seeing a big number with the Twins, not only on the money line, but also on the run line here. How do you see this one going, Dave? How's it going to go?
I think this is one where you go ahead if you're going to play it and you go the -2.5. Because -1.5 is going to cost you a fortune anyway. And the fact is the Eagles are back into not coming close mode, blown up early. And I watched the whole game because it happened to be the ESPN game. And, this team cannot buy a hit with men on base. They had 3 really good opportunities last night to put crooked numbers on the board, and they got 1 run out of it. They're just terrible. And this is a bad matchup for them on top of that. Chang's on the mound, and he hasn't been any good. Look at these numbers. 27 and 2/3 innings. He's given up 41 hits. He's walked 21 guys. Yikes. Against a good offense. By the way, the good offense gets better tonight because Ramos will be back in the lineup for the Twins tonight. So it's not like Wilson's been – I think Wilson's actually been kind of a disappointment. I think that's fair to say. He has not been –
No, he hasn't been –
He's been okay, and that's it. His
expectations haven't been met. That's how I think this is a guy who the thought process was, well, he'll be he's a quad A big leaguer, stateside. He's got the stuff to be a number 1 starter in KBO. He really has not pitched. He hasn't pitched like a number 1. Let's put it that way. But here's his chance to have a really good game, and he already has a good game against the Eagles. His best game of the year: 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Just get up there and throw strikes against this team, and you're going to get them out. So, it's almost $3. Let me check what the line is right now. Get a current line on it. It's over $3. Team total is once again 3.5 here with the Hanwha Eagles. Not only if you're fading this team, but I mentioned to you guys earlier during the NC Dinos streak, if you didn't like the price you were getting with them, back the over. If you don't like the price you're getting on the opposition against the Hanwha Eagles, cross your fingers and just grab the under on team total and watch this team just completely swing and miss for 9 straight innings with runners in scoring position, because we could have an absolute beach ball being pitched at these guys right down the middle, and they can't get it done. So
it's true.
Look at what they're producing. I mean, even in games that are, and that's the thing, Dave, that worries me with ever taking unders with this team, though. And I heard a couple guys that I speak with were on the under in this game, but who knows? A couple more runs from LG, and there goes your under.
Oh, sure. I mean, last night or this morning, they got 7.
Don't you hate that, Dave?
They got
last
7
night, this morning.
Yeah, they got 7. They could have had 10.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple of well-hit balls with men on base that happened to be right at somebody. There's just nothing. They had fun last weekend and upset Doosan in a couple of games. But now they're right back to being what they were, just getting smashed. I mean, look at this. These numbers are just ghastly. They've been outscored almost 2-1. It's 123 runs, 245 allowed. I don't know that I've ever seen a percentage, even 40 games in. That's got to be the worst I've ever seen in baseball. And I don't think it's going to get any better here. So what I would do is, and I won't post this at WagerTalk because a lot of people can't get alternate lines, but I'd look for the alternate run line here. Something different, go -2.5 runs. At least you'll get a fair price, and there's every chance that this will be another blowout win for the Twins.
And I'm going to lock this in right after this show ends. I'm taking the over team total 5.5 LG Twins minus $1.25. Hey, usually when the Hanwha Eagles are losing, they're not losing by 1 or 2 or low scoring games either.
And they've got a pitcher in bad form with bad season numbers, but really bad form lately. He's had 4 straight non-quality starts. And Ramos is back in the lineup. Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't. Anything can happen. It's a baseball game, but there's not a lot that you can point to that says the Eagles are going to be competitive here.
I want to get your opinion on this, and I've asked you about this before, kind of, but I say this with 100% on being completely serious and genuine. What argument can anybody make if somebody was literally betting against Hanwha for the rest of the season on the spread or run line or team total under? I mean, every situation is different. Every pitching is different. Teams going up and down, players' numbers, batting average, so on and so forth. But what could somebody even argue back to a guy that's saying, I'm going to wake up every day and fade Hanwha?
Oh, the only thing I could say is, I guess somebody could say law of averages. But I don't think law of averages applies to this team. I don't know the history of KBO. I guess there was the Sammy Slammers or something like that back in the 80s were incredibly bad. But who cares about that? I can't imagine there's been a team remotely close to being this awful in this league for several years. And they just don't have the material. And they're actually getting hurt by the Major League Baseball situation because there's little question that they would probably get rid of Bell and get rid of their position player and sign 2 new foreign guys. But there's no way for them to go about it now these guys wouldn't be ready to play until like mid-July. And I'm not sure what the situation is with a lot of quad A type major leaguers who are waiting to see what happens. And by the way, Chad Bell, he's either still hurt or he can't throw anymore. This is a guy who threw in the low 90s, 92, 93. He's topping out at 89 right now. So even their one foreign pitcher who's supposed to be kind of the bellwether of the staff, he's got nothing right now. And he got ripped last night. Actually, the bullpen did better than he did. So there's just nothing to like of the Eagles. And I as much as from somebody who's been doing this forever, it's like, well, you shouldn't just blanket blind play against or on anything. This is one where I think you can make a case that you can just blind fade Hanwha in some fashion on a daily basis, and you're going to come out okay.
I love it. Jeffrey here says the forecast is getting worse by the hour.
Yeah, there's some possible rain tonight. Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on it. That actually might kind of make me a little more interested in grabbing the under. Jake says, thanks for doing the show. Love watching every day. Johnny here says, Dave, do you stay up until 2 a.m. or do you set your alarm to watch these games?
It varies.
Varies.
Yeah, I fall asleep when I fall asleep and wake up when I wake up. I'm not an alarm guy unless it's, I have to be someplace in the morning. But outside of that, and that rarely happens now. It's one of the nicer things about getting older is, I don't have to be any place unless I feel like it. So, so I'm not big on alarm clocks. I just wake up when I wake up.
I hear you. Okay, that'll do it for today's show. We went through all the games, a little bit of a discussion here.
Before we get out, I want to mention a couple of things. If you notice the banner, you can get both of us for the rest of the season for $499. Just email support@wagertalk.com where you can grab us individually. Golf, we should mention what we have up. I played on 4 guys this week. I zeroed out on 4 guys, and for a total of 9 matchup plays. And those are all up right now for $19. You get all the plays for $19. Andrew, how about you?
Yeah, for me so far, just 2 golf plays, Dave. But I have a UFC 5% best bets. I'm happy you actually reminded me to shout out a couple of things we have up. 6-1 run for me with my best bets on the UFC plus 21% ROI. So looking forward to it. I mean, I've been low volume. I appreciate it, Dave. I've been low volume, and that's kind of been the name of the game for me with UFC, especially during the pause in major sports, trying to get things done in the MMA. So look forward to the golf, Dave. We did the golf show. I was happy to be a part of it this week, and just looking at the course as well. We won't get too much into it, but it looks like another fun course, tight fairways. Going to be quite a fun course to watch, and couple guys that didn't play too well last week are going to be looking for some vengeance this week, I think.
Yeah, and we'll see if Morikawa can keep his phenomenal streak going. He's yet to miss a cut since joining the PGA Tour. I think he's 22 out of 22 and should make another one here. But he does have a challenge. As great a young player as he is, he's got to find a way to put last week's finish behind him because that's a tough loss. He looked like he had the tournament won. Then he had to go to a playoff, and he lost that. Missed a putt he should have made. For young guys, that can be tough to come back from. But I think he's so good that he probably will. But I did not play him in any matchups this week.
You're reminding me of a pretty rough time when I missed my winner.
The nice part for me last weekend was I had no shot. I had Spieth going into Sunday, but I kind of had a feeling that he might melt on Sunday. I did not have a good tournament last weekend, so I'm looking to bounce back here.
Let's do it. Good luck to you. We'll see you tomorrow, of course. All of you guys in the chat box, thanks again for watching. We always appreciate you guys. And like Dave alluded to, email support@wagertalk.com. Get both of Dave and I's premium plays. We're obviously discussing the games. We're discussing why we like certain picks, but we release to our clients our most favorite ones. I hope I speak for both of us when I say that, Dave. And,
yes.
You sign up, you won't just get one of us, you get 2 for a great deal. So I think that's the way to go. I want to make it clear, Dave, before you go ahead. I don't like to be a salesy kind of guy. I'm just trying to tell you guys all, anybody out there watching the video, if you want to get one of us or you like both of our stuff, because I'm sure you see the same thing, or I check my sales report, a lot of the same guys buying a daily pick every day. Save yourself some money, get a week pass, get a month pass, or buy our season for both Dave and I, and you'll save some money long term.
And one thing we know, at least they'll be playing baseball in this league till October.
Definitely. I'm not buying into any hype until I see some confirmation. Have a great night, Dave. We'll see you guys all tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time, usual time, and good luck with all your wagers.
Good luck, everybody.